Hi, my name is Trey. I'm the CEO of Dryden Gold Corp, an exciting new high-grade exploration story in Northwest Ontario, traded on the Vancouver Stock Exchange under the symbol DRY, and on the OTCQB under the symbol DRYGF.
There we go. That's new. When did you do that?
Just announced last week.
I did read that. I did know that. How are you? You heard the Quebec Mining Conference of the North? Is that what we're calling it? Event
Just
of
the
North?
event. They think we just from after that party last night, I think we'll just call it the event.
Yeah.
It's pretty swanky.
That was good. It's pretty swanky. It's pretty swanky. But the good news is lots of people here, and that's the point of coming to these things. We're here to tell the story. And I want to catch up with you guys because you've been busy. And definitely want to talk to you in a second, but maybe worth reminding people, and for those people new to the story, what it is that you got and kind of how you set yourself up for success.
Started this company about 2.5 years ago, just shortly after selling Ely Gold royalties. And as a private company, spent 2.5 years consolidating a property package in a very underexplored camp in Northwest Ontario. Great infrastructure, a lot of high-grade gold. The only other company really doing a lot of work in this camp, Matt, is Treasury Metals, who has a lower-grade deposit of about 2 to 3 million ounces. What we're looking for is high-grade gold, and we've put a property package together that has high-grade gold on it over a 50-kilometer footprint.
Okay, and obviously Treasury, we know. We've been speaking a few times, a little bit of news recently on them and what's happening. So there's others moving into the district, it seems.
Well, when I first started putting this property package together, in early 22, nobody was paying much attention to this camp, but had some pretty good advisors who said, this was worth looking at. I mean, for heaven's sakes, the Trans-Canada Highway runs right through the property. Highway runs right down from the town of Dryden. Dryden is a mining and forestry camp, so we've had 50-plus years of the forestry people being in there, putting in roads and stripping off ground and making it more accessible for mining. So an excellent camp, and now, just since we went public at the first of the year, Kenorland Minerals has come in and picked up a large property package that they optioned that is actually abuts us.
Yeah.
And then most recently, one of Frank Justra's companies, Black Wolf Copper and Gold, has announced a merger with Treasury. So that project is going to see new life and probably a lot more exploration too. So
right.
I think two great groups that have come into the camp and really going to put it on the map.
So the other thing we've been talking to lots of companies, obviously, this week, but also this year in terms of how they make themselves defensible, i.e. against the markets or lack of availability of cash, etc. Setting themselves up, setting the share register up properly, getting that kind of corporate structure sorted, really, really important. One of the things I noticed about you guys is you get some pretty big names in for effectively a startup. Not too shabby. I mean, we maybe talk through that again for people new to the story.
Well, as a private company, we raised about $4 million to do property acquisitions and some early exploration and technical work. But initially funded with the Eric Sprott, it was in privately, Adrian Day, Marsha Koval from Luminex, and several other brokers and bankers from different firms, Canadian firms. So we have quite a great client list there. And then when we did the RTO, we had the lead order for Rob McEwen, and the Europac Gold Fund came in, Peter Schiff's fund. They're one of our major shareholders now. And also Delbrook Capital came in and did a large piece of charity flow through for us. So we've got it. I could go on and on name dropping here, but I'd pretty much drop all the names.
We get it. You're connected. Right. So what they kind of, I guess the bit of the story they probably fell in love with was this super high grade, historic super high grade gold. Yeah. That's what got you in there. Who
doesn't like it?
That's what got you in there. I guess my question to you is, so what have you been doing and why? So
So right out of the gate, after becoming public, we were already actually started on our 4-phase drill campaign.
Yeah.
So we had 3 objectives with this. The first, to define a larger footprint. The second, to understand the high-grade gold controls. And then to test for new high-grade shoots. So you probably remember us saying, you know, there's a 53,000 gram per ton hit on this property. Well, our predecessors certainly drilled the snot out of that particular spot.
Yeah.
But the first goal was to expand the footprint. In these kind of high-grade systems, you need to have a big enough place to really have a significant deposit. And that's what we wanted to prove. So we did some step outs far to the north, extending the system by 500 meters and showing that there was still, now at that be lower grade gram material, but showing that the vein system and the alterations there.
Right.
Then we got to the sexy stuff. We went to where that high-grade hit was found, and we decided to expand that high-grade shoot and test our theories of the controls. Now, you may remember, some of you, that I was with Red Lake for 5 years as the exploration manager. So we used the theories that we understood there for controlling the high-grade zone and all of those different high-grade shoots, and we tested that same theory being the control here. That's actually what brought me to this project, like so many similarities to such an amazing camp. Who wouldn't want to explore there? So we were successful in hitting high grade on that high grade shoot, and we stepped out on a parallel structure that hadn't been drilled since the 80s and 90s. That was a known shoot. We hit 14 grams per ton over 7.5 meters on that. Like, that's some sexy stuff, very exciting. One of the historic mines was on that trend. It graded 14 grams per ton average grade from their mining. It was one of the largest producers back in the 1800s, early 1900s. So, you know, we're kind of proving the theory that there really is high-grade gold sustainably here.
Right.
Then, from what we learned, we tested new high-grade shoots. We defined 3 of them. So now we're up to 5 high-grade shoots in this 1.5 kilometer strike. So we're really starting to show that there is something here. On one of the shoots, we hit 26 grams per ton over 3 meters. So we're starting to see really nice grades and predicting them. So what we want to do is continue to predict how often these high-grade shoots occur and find a lot more of them. So I'm really excited about the results we've had so far. Absolutely. Thanks for asking that. We, you know, a lot of these systems, people will go right to deep because they're plunging. So you have a lot of continuity at depth. But since we have such a big footprint and most of the drilling's been shallow, we actually decided to use the 4,000 meters and drill a lot of different holes. We did 28 different holes, really shallow. So we've been able to drill about 150 meters as our average depth. The deepest one we intersected high-grade gold at 200 meters, and that's the deepest hole we've drilled.
Right.
So really shallow and a lot of good results.
So still open, all directions.
All directions. We have open at depth. And remember, these types of deposits typically get mined to about 1 kilometer or 2 at depth. So we're just scratching the surface and with high grade.
So, yes, seems like. And that's the interesting thing, because obviously as explorers, you guys, your job is to drill, raise money, drill, etc. And as long as the ounces keep being found and the grades are good, you're hopefully raising at higher amounts, etc. But in terms of the actual drilling bit, the operations on the ground, how long do you continue this kind of shallow drilling for? Certainly in terms of trying to understand the footprint and where all this veining is coming from.
Well, it makes sense to drill shallow as we define more of these high-grade shoots, but then we are going to want to follow them down. And I'm very happy with the control.
That's what I'm getting to, because it's...
I would say in the next phase of drilling, we would do some more deep holes, but also we've only put 1 hole into that new high-grade shoot that was 26 grams per ton. Yeah. So I'd like to drill a few more there, and they could be pretty shallow.
Right. Okay, and so that's but things going well.
Things are going well.
It's kind of what you hope to see, and you are seeing it. Your job is to help the market understand that you're doing what you wanted to do. You're hitting the grades, and get them excited. But the moment is high-priced gold environment. You think people will be a little bit more excited. Money not quite flowing back into the junior equity, certainly not the junior explorers at the moment. So how do you continue to move forward, set yourself up as a sort of standout explorer in that sense?
Well, again, we have the benefit of having a premier shareholder list, so we have a well to go back to. Let's say we'd like to. We're certainly price sensitive to wanting to to raise money at higher prices, not lower prices from the RTO. But we think our shareholders are really understanding what we're doing, and we are setting this up and talking to strategic partners as well. So there's the chance there, this camp getting the kind of attention it's getting now. So we're talking to some strategic players, some larger companies, producers and major companies. And we have still catalysts to go. We have money, and we'll be doing a summer field program. One thing that we learned in this first drill program is that not only is the vein structures here carrying very high grade, and Maura, when she was talking about it, we extended the strike length 1.5 kilometers, but that's also on 3 different veins. We were started with 1 vein structure. These other new high-grade chutes are on 2 other veins.
Yeah.
But we did full sampling on this, the full length of the hole. Yeah. The previous operator did not do that. And what we found is that there are sheared volcanics that make up a footwall and a hanging wall, and even some areas in between there that are carrying gold. And in some cases, in these sheared volcanics in the footwall, we hit grades over 1 ounce per ton. That was not sampled by the previous operator. And what we've done is locate all that core out in the field, and we've secured a location to bring all that in, relog it, reassay. So we think even with in our known high-grade zone, it's very underreported.
So how many meters of core is that you're
about
looking at?
20,000 meters of core that was drilled by Manitou.
Right.
And I'm glad Trey brought it up. Yeah. I was going to say, I'm very excited about what we're doing next, and it has a low price tag.
Yeah.
Because this core was already drilled, we have the opportunity to go back and look at the hanging wall and footwall mineralization, see the continuity of it, and test that again now.
Right.
Just from looking at the core that we've drilled, we see a lot of opportunity between the hanging wall and footwall, and then the halo mineralization. When you just sample the veins, you miss all of that mineralization on either side. And since this is so close to surface, you really want to understand that.
Right. And when we met in Toronto, one of the conversations we're having a lot was about new technologies, the application of new technologies. Is that going to come to play? Is it going to be part of how you do this analysis, or are you sticking with conventional?
We're going to stick with conventional methods of assay, but we have been capitalizing on different new technology. We have a 3D model of the Gold Rock camp. We're doing that in other areas as well. We had some really good success on our field program last summer. We took 5 samples, 4 of which were over 10 grams per ton on a brand new discovery. Yep. So we're actually employing the same work we did in the Gold Rock camp and doing a 3D model up there using the geophysics and all of the other available data. So we're kind of always using every tool we have and doing that good technical foundational work that really helps you make new discoveries. And I want to just drive this point home because relogging, it doesn't maybe sound that sexy or exciting. However, it actually can be really instrumental in making discoveries. And if you think about Great Bear, the sweetheart of this industry, they drilled for 2 years. Then they went and paused, did a relogging program of all the historic core, similar to what we're going to do. That's how they made the discovery of the LP zone. So it really can be huge for a company like us.
Yeah, well, the word that stuck out there was discoveries. People get excited about discoveries. Would you classify yourself as having made a discovery? We're going to go with that?
Yeah.
Easily. There's different definitions out there, right? People get a little bit excited unnecessarily sometimes. So
the new discovery that we made on the Hinman property, we're so lucky in this camp, and Trey mentioned it already, that we have all this logging that goes on. So it was all clear cut for forestry purposes. Yeah. And so that's actually pulled back all the outcrop. I went back actually earlier this month, and last month, in May, and that's all clear. So we have the opportunity to map all of that and see these structures that were hosting gold and find more of them. So I think that's a discovery.
I think it's a discovery too.
Yeah.
That's good. You got to keep making more of them to stand out.
It's nice to show we have a pipeline. So we have the Gold Rock camp and a brownfields opportunity, but we're also showing that we have the ability to make new discoveries as well.
But in terms of this consolidation component, Trey, that's what you did. The consolidation thing was I guess the attractive bit of this had never been done before, and in a relatively unspoken about districts up until recent times. the extent of that has got to be worked. You got to finance that. You got to build it out. And have you got a sort of sense of how you go about doing that? Because,
well, again, I mean, it's the junior mining space, so we'll clearly be raising more money and needing to raise more money. Again, I point back to our shareholder list, the well that we can go back to as long as we're continuing to perform, we're getting close to the point. Through our RTO money, we did make our two property payments for 23 and 24 to Alamos. We have one more payment there next year of $1 million cash and $1 million stock, and then we'll own that property 100%.
right.
We have about $300,000 on the rest of the property and option payments to make, or on parts of the other property, and we'll own 100%. And then a lot of what we've staked and purchased outright that we already own 100% of. And once we finish the payment to Alamos, there's about $5 million in assessment credit. So with 60,000 hectares, there's about $500,000 or $600,000 a year, maybe a little more, in assessment work that needs to be done. But we've also strategically connected all of our properties with claim bridges, so that if the money that's being spent now down in the Ken West area on the Alamos option, we can spread that around to any of the other properties to keep the assessment work up. That bank, from the work that Alamos did, has about $4 million in assessment credit. So that's part of the asset that we're buying. And with the $1 million that we've spent in drilling there this year, that's about $5 million of credits, or 6 or 7 years that we are going to have a lot of flexibility in where we drill and where we explore.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing with small companies with big land packages is the kind of cost of like holding on to that land, and the need to come up with different strategies to do so, or at least monetize it in some way, shape, or form. They either doing JVs from parts of it, or strategics coming in and a lending hand with their balance sheet, etc. I mean, for you obviously had some good stuff down here. It's very hard to go, well, we've got that, we'll put that in the bank account for now, and we'll move on to the next thing. Because this market's a funny, fickle market at the moment. It's a question of how do you retain interest so people don't forget about the good stuff you've already done. But the desire to try to generate new stories to kind of get more people in. It's a hard balancing act.
It's definitely a balance, but I mean, that is what you want to do when you're in a major company as well. So we actually do something similar. We have a resource pipeline where we've ranked and rated all our targets.
Yeah.
So we're always working on the ones that are closer to a resource, closer to development, but then we have to focus a little bit on those grassroots targets to keep moving them up.
Right.
And, we've done work with the local communities, speaking with them, and we have a good idea of what areas are, of interest, or what areas they don't want us to work on. So we've been able to rank and rate from a social perspective, from a geologic perspective, grade, of course, most importantly. And so we have this whole pipeline. So when I'm talking to strategics, they're kind of very impressed with the systems we've put in place. So I think that really helps us as well. And as we move along a bit, we can, look at potentially joint ventures for certain pieces of the property, or lots of different options.
Right. No, I like that. So bringing the past experience, Red Lake experience over here, I can see why that would work. So Trey, you've interesting year ahead, I suspect, for you guys.
I think so.
More of the same. We want to see more of the same.
More high grade, yep.
More high grade, because that's the standout. There's so many low grade, small junior explorers, and it's kind of a bit white noise, boring. So keep doing what you're doing. We'll see you soon, yeah?
Well, you're exactly right. And I mean, we're just very fortunate with this property to have been able to consolidate really a district play. So one thing we assure our shareholders is we're not going to move on and pick up another property in another province or something and spread ourselves too thin. We've got probably the best property that a junior could have. We just have to prove that to the market. And we've put together the best technical team for this type of deposit with Maura and Anna and another woman that we're adding this.
Not another one.
Yeah.
I know.
I said that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just
He can hardly keep up.
Miss Zamet, yeah, she wrote her thesis actually on the camp.
Yeah.
A
She's
couple
coming
of
out
years
this
ago.
summer.
She done probably the most recent, really high-grade technical work, and she's in a different job now, and very excited to come back and do some work with us this summer. So this relogging program and our field program this summer will include her, and she's the
expert.
I don't know. Do we have her thesis on our website? I don't know if we do, but it's accessible.
Publicly available.
Okay.
In the public domain. So yeah. Look, we're very focused on what we're doing. We're a bit market constrained, but we're not in a huge hurry either. I mean, we're doing things right. We've put a property package together that a major mid-tier company will like. We've got now partners, if you will, or at least neighbors that are significant exploration companies, and the 31st floor of Frank Justa's group. I mean, I don't think they're getting into this treasury merger just to sit around. There will be a mine in this camp within the next 5 to 10 years. And we think we'll be a part of it because that low-grade deposit that Treasury has mixed with our high-grade now is the downside case for us. In other words, we find we find enough of these high-grade chutes at near surface to be able to provide a couple 3 million ounces of 5-gram material to mix in with that low-grade material at Treasury. That's our downside. Of course, our upside, we think, is Great Bear 2.0, we like to say. I mean, we
A new
have a
discovery.
very significant thing here. And as we work our way and get better financed and can start to drill this thing at depth, like you were talking about, and expanding the footprint there. I mean, we're working within 1.5 kilometers, and we have 7 kilometers that are just on patented claims. So that's all where there's been historic mining and work on that 7 kilometers. Well, then the Gold Rock camp, including the Cross River ground we recently picked up, gives us about 20 kilometers of strike. And that's just in the middle part what we're focusing on. We've got 50 kilometers that runs all the way up to Treasury Metal. And whether it's in ground samples or drill holes or historic mining, there is high-grade gold from top to bottom on this 50 kilometers of strike on this major deformation zone. And it's just never been systematically explored. And while we'd like to get it all done right away, we want to do it right. And we want to do it.
I think that's super, super smart. You are doing some super smart work and bring that kind of systematic approach to this and this kind of big company mentality.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic setup for the future. So congratulations to you. Love it.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you were doing.
Okay, will do.
See you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Thanks, Matt.